analyze, communicate global, economical, legal and ethical aspects of business.
Okay.
For such a PO, the questions like explain, define can be used.
Yeah. For that, what are the first three keywords you said? Understand, analyze
and communicate.
Communicate. So there, because understanding keyword is there, first expectation is he should understand the business model, let us say. So there is a scope. In such cases, you can always take a privilege. That is why I said it is PO specific. I did not, even for her question also, I made the same statement. I have to read the same. There, definitely it is needed. Then followed by other things. In your case, how many? 5 POs are there?
Yes. And the other questions are actually, as the layer structure you have shown,
Yeah.
POs, then POs and then COs.
Yeah.
As it is a technical institute, the vision will be of technical oriented statements. But as our management vision of our department will be from a management side. And how we can correlate?
See, try to understand. Vision of any institution is normally to bring out a good individual, I think, a good human resource. Only thing is these are additional adjectives that we use too much. Otherwise, to roll out a HR, a good individual fit for society service. This is what a broad vision. Most of the institutions, it is only the English touch that they give only the company. Otherwise, any institution, mission actions may change little bit. Because same, see, when the vision is something different, in the sense, English-wise it makes. But philosophically, according to it's the same. Philosophically, it's the same. Any institution, because we are not preparing any terrorists. All our objective is to contribute a good individual who can serve the society at various capacities. That's all. Okay? That's all. Fine. Anything else? Good. So we shall proceed. Okay? Fine. So I open up a question. What is your perspective of complex engineering problem? What's a complex engineering problem? Or who has defined? Or any global definition is there for a complex engineering problem? Is there any standardized reference for that? This is called complex engineering problem. Any answers? I open up the question.
Problem which can be solved with the logical thinking.
Okay. Fine.
Multidisciplinary.
Okay. Logical thinking, multidisciplinary. Then any other answers?
From our management side, the logical complex problems is make or buy decisions, acquisitions. These
are examples that you are illustrating. What I am asking is any broad guidelines that somebody should have in mind anywhere that this is called complex engineering problem. This is example with reference to management program. Like that, electronics will have something, computer science will have something. Fine, some other definition.
Case studies.
Case studies. Which doesn't have a solution. That means it's always no solution at all. Obviously. Rather than no solution, multiple may be better. Because ultimately somebody has to put a solution. So multiple solutions. Yeah, you are all correct. So in my next slide I will explain. So problem analysis again is not restricted to just doing analysis. So before doing that, it can be identified or even it can be formulated through research. Fine, to analyze again the same thing, we will shortly understand. And solve that and arrive at some conclusions. So that even a comparative study, case A with case B, case A with case B, with lot of analytical study if you give, and arrive at some conclusions. Such kind of scenarios we can map into program outcome. 2, PO2. Right? So, here I don't have much to say. Such kind of things. Let us see in examination also. We may be asking, compare this with this and comment on this, merits of this. Fine? Again, that with some illustration, it is better to give. What is the difference between a numerical example and a problem?
Problem means we need to find the proper equations to tell the information. Numerical example means it's already there is an equation, we need to feed the values to get the solution.
Is it clear? No, not clear. We are not happy. Okay, fine. Yes, sir.
Numerical means the method we are going to know about that. But problem means we are going to apply the numerical method in the problem.
Okay, example?
Example, suppose if number of iterations we are doing in the numerical method, that we can apply in some mechanical applications like that. Iterations.
Okay, to some extent, fine. Yeah, but that's with some set of procedure, if you solve, we call it as a numerical example. Problem in the context of this NBA literature refers to societal problems, legal problems, health problems. You will see those kind of keywords repeatedly. So, meaning to say, if you address some issue, what is there in and around you, in solving that, that is called as a problem here. It's not just a numerical example. A numerical example, many numerical examples can be helpful in solving the problem. That's the way we can understand. Is it clear? So that there is a set procedure. That's why I said if you give a scenario, you need to analyze. Move here to here. So which is the best traffic route? So there is, suppose networking issue if I take. Move from node A to node B. There are several adjacent nodes. I can put lot of constraints. From here to here you can make only one hop. You cannot make multiple hops. But still traffic should be so much. This should be the data rate at which I must receive the data. Then how will I be pushed? Fine. So it's something like a problem. A communication problem. Numerical example like routine what we saw. We'll see shortly. Then complex engineering problem, as all of you have said. So it's nothing but a collection of this. And where it has been defined, or the definition given is in this attachment. So how we can open this here? This attachment, if you open. No, it is there in the hyperlink connect. You open this document. Okay. This is one beautiful paper. So can it be scrolled up? Okay, nice. Okay. So this is a white paper from International Engineering Alliance. Actually, it's a professional body who facilitates signing many accords like Washington Accord, Dublin Accord, Sydney Accord, all those things. Okay? In which countries will participate, and there are the people who bring all of them together. And this is one paper where, if you see, it's a lengthy paper. What each accord is, it talks about. Yeah, this is a global definition where well-defined problems, broadly defined problems, and complex engineering problems. So what are the characteristics of complex engineering problems? If you see this, have no obvious solutions and require abstract thinking, originality and analysis to formulate suitable ones. That's what he always have no solution, but they have solutions, or we can say, and require abstract thinking. This is what I said. So this is the reference which many of you said, multidisciplinary, all those things have come from this paper. In the sense, literature from IEA, not that this paper alone, but this is another paper which opens up us to understand what is this. You see, depth of knowledge. It requires research-based knowledge. Whereas here, if you see, can be resolved using limited theoretical knowledge, but normally requires extensive practical knowledge for a well-defined problem. Actually, according to me, as an individual, if I say, we are doing most of the things, yes, but we are claiming complex engineering problem, which again, scenario has to change. Slowly it will change. Is it clear? We are doing something like this. Engineering problems having some or all of the following characteristics. We do this. Whereas you see here, they need not have all of them. First one is sufficient, whereas others is not mandatory. In-depth research knowledge is compulsory, whereas you need not have all the characteristics. Is it clear? So if you Google, you will get that paper. At leisure time, you can please read it. How I can exit out of this? Back? Okay, repeat. Fine. So, again, slide show more. Close.
That's like system usage.
Yeah. So, same things I have listed here. Whatever it was there in that column, I have done a copy paste of this. So, last one, if you read, this is more important for us. It must be noted that a complex engineering problem, as defined by IEA, must have at least the first attribute. At least the first attribute. And any of the other attributes. Not it is compulsory that all of the attributes must be met. It's not said. Fine? So, it can have any of these. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, coming to, if you search for some papers, this is one of the beautiful paper, but she has dealt very nicely how the problem has been arrived and how it has been framed. Fine. How many of you are there? Civil? Nobody? Okay, good sir. So, environmental engineering. This is related to that. Okay. So, she has then, so I don't go to too much about the research part of this paper. So, if you see, she has given one typical, after a lot of interviews, she talks to the people, then explains, each person has got their own perception about complex engineering problems, which she has articulated. You see, she has met so many people in asking their opinion. With this faculty having this much of experience in hydrology, environmental, geotech, etc. And you will be interested to read their opinion, just like I asked, what is a complex engineering problem? You see, respondent A gives like this, respondent H gives like this, he doesn't mention any names, so she just says ABC. So this is the way, I mean, she has collected the opinions, and finally she has given one typical example, which is more interesting for us rather than looking into comments and things like that. So it throws, you see this, a little bit idea for us to think. So you read this. Can you do this? Can you read this, all of you?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. It's a reverse restoration action plan for some rivers going from one direction to another direction. So she says every student has to be like a consultant, and she says the proposal should include action plans to accomplish the following objectives. Just like I said, traffic movement. Just now I said packet should move from point to point with these constraints. So like this, improving water quality from class 2 and class 3, then prevention of solid waste management, etc. etc. She puts 4 conditions, and you see it's an examination problem, 20 marks. So that it's a very abstract question. It's an abstract question. There can't be a one answer. There can be multiple answers, but with lot of constraints like this. So they must be having an in-depth knowledge about what is this class 2, what is this class 3, right? And what are the things that they should address. This solid waste discharge should not be there, how it should. Meaning to say, it covers many things. So these kinds of examination questions are also possible. That is what this author says. So just to give an idea about how these things can be brought into examination system, I just gave an example. That's all. Because in electronics I did not find a research paper as such, but civil had one, so I just gave. Right? That's the only message what I am trying to pass from this. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, some typical which strike to my mind I have just listed. Because when I read the paper, I should write something. So that is why I have made some things which strike my mind, corresponding to each branch of engineering. You can refine it more, because I am not master of all the branches. So just like I wrote. So I hope you agree. Can this be taken in a broader sense and make it more so that it becomes real complex engineering problem, that it can be there. Fine? And even for the examination, I have also started writing like this. Given a lot of constraints, and I don't specify. You see here, this question, if I give, it doesn't talk about what configuration and the reasoning behind the choice. These are the things that it will cover. So question should be, that's why I said, for us, challenge is more not on teaching, more on assessment. Because multiple resources are available. Now, if they don't listen to my lecture, no problem, they will have multiple sources. But assessment, they have to fall under me only. So if I am more challenging, then definitely students will be with me. Isn't it? That's what I pass from this. So third PO is, so at what time I can take a break? In the sense, 11:50. Okay, fine. So third one is the design competency that we have to develop among the students. So for that, even it can be design of components or processes that meet the specifications, which meet, again, these are all the problems which I said. It can be related to public health, it can be related to safety, cultural, societal, etc. So all these problems have to be solved by engineers. That is why you are there in the society. Your job is to solve these problems. That's all our fundamental understanding is. What is there your role as an engineer? Solve this. Right? Otherwise no business for us in the society. So fourth one, so mainly it is on the design of experiments. Design of experiments, analysis of those experimental studies, then interpretation of data. So we have to allow students to do more interpretation of data. That is what is missing in the labs. Because we always give something like a ready-made handout, only he is becoming a meter reader. We are preparing them to be meter readers rather than trying out failures, boundaries, limitations of the experiments, where they stop performing, why they stop performing, the reason for that. Such kind of things are referred as interpretation of data. What are the frequency limitations? When the circuit becomes saturated, when the circuit will be in the linear region. Such kind of things we will never. We will say only very current from this value to this value, note down this. He will also do this. He will also never ask, Madam, if I vary beyond this, what will happen? He will not question. Neither you will tell, nor they will do. Ultimately, we are telling the students. So, allow them to do a lot of experimentation with interpretation of data. That's more important. Fine? Then any of your laboratory kind of exercises that you do can be mapped to this, but you must expand your horizons. That's what I'm doing. Otherwise, you are not doing, but little bit stretch your arms. Then model tool usage, here again, we are not allowing them to think. Creation, forget it. I mean, if it is there, it's very good actually. Creating this difficult task, then at least you teach them how to select for any task they perform nowadays, either in the form of hardware or in the form of software. They will have a variety of choice.